Hey, Mystic Michaela spiritual family. Welcome to Know Your Aura with Mystic Michaela today. I have a question for you. Do you ever get the feeling that, like, maybe your family doesn't like you? Do you ever get the feeling you go for a visit, there's a holiday get together, and you're just rubbing them the wrong way? And you've been noticing this more and more. Have you noticed that you have been bothered by them more than ever yourself? We're going to talk about how spiritual awakenings, aura colors, and these most recent holiday get-togethers can all come together, affecting the family dynamic. But first, hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. I don't even have to say might. I know that they don't like me or annoyed with me or whatever. So,
I mean, there's a range.
Right?
Because we're people. And people, I think in the best of families, you irritate each other. You can totally see that in aura colors.
Sure.
In the worst of situations, it becomes a real point of contention. It's almost unhealthy to be around each other. So we're kind of going to talk about this generally, but it can go really deep. All right. So do you ever feel like your family is triggered by you and it's like aura related?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. I think they are definitely triggered by me. It's 100%.
Okay.
Like I said, I don't know if they like me so much.
But, stop.
But I feel when something that's going on, you have to turn the tables.
Oh yeah.
Right off the bat, you turn the tables and you say, well, maybe I don't like them.
That's your MO.
Maybe it's them that's annoying me.
Socrates method? Is that like the thing? What was that? Socratic method?
No, that's just
That's the Scott-Cratic method.
Scott-Cratic method.
Just turn it around.
Right. The Socratic method is like where you ask questions.
Yeah.
So
this is the Scott-Cratic method. Nothing apparently like what I said.
Yeah. It's like, let me start with I'll start with my dad. I don't want to destroy these people right now, but
it's like at this point,
we'll do small things.
Let's keep it civil.
We'll do like a small thing, which is like, whatever, like an example of a bigger thing.
Okay.
All right. So we have in our family, there's birthdays. There's a birthday week. Okay. So Bree's birthday is the 27th, February. Abby's birthday is February 24th, and my dad's February 25th.
Yes.
So it's the birthday week, 3 cakes, even more sometimes.
It's the birthday week, man.
It's a birthday week.
Yeah.
Anyway, so last year, my dad says, I don't want to have a birthday anymore.
What aura color is your dad?
He's a yellow-blue.
Okay, keep going.
Okay. So I said, what do you mean you want to have a birthday anymore? He's like, well, now I'm going to call it the celebration of birthdays. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Because he does this with everything. This is like how he does everything. So I'm like, what's the celebration of birthdays? And what is it? Okay, so basically, celebration of birthdays is one of the days during the week, which is on his birthday.
On his birthday.
It's not his birthday anymore.
Nope.
It's a sharing of the 3 birthdays until he's, I guess,
85.
85, he gets his birthday back.
Yeah, he's super yellow about this, you guys.
So from 81 to 84, we are now going to have the celebration of birthdays.
Right.
Okay. So I guess the celebration of birthdays, again, it's nobody's birthday. Then there's one cake. It has to be one cake.
Yes, this is specific.
And then there has to be candles placed vertically, I guess, like 3 candles placed vertically on each side.
Yes.
So 6 total candles.
Yeah.
And then in the middle, it has to, I forgot the order, but everyone's name has got to be included.
It's Brianna, Poppy, Abigail.
In that order.
Yes, in that order.
And that has got to be the cake. And there has to be 3. And even if like sometimes like there's not enough room to fit on a cake because there's like flowers and things.
Yeah.
But somehow you got to fit that in there.
Yeah.
And then you have to put the candles lined up directly.
Correct.
In the order. So
this is how this went.
Right.
He was trying to tell Scott, because when you're an in-law, which is me, you're watching like the son and the father interact.
Right.
So I'm watching a yellow aura and a red aura interact. And my father-in-law is like, this is what you're going to do.
Right.
You're going to take this cake. Yeah. And you're like, I don't want to hear it, Dad.
Right.
You're getting a regular cake. Yeah. I'm not doing it. And then they're just arguing back and forth. And I'm like, I'll do it, Bert. Like, I got it. And then I understood a little bit why you didn't want to do it.
Yeah. Because when you're trying to get this done, and the people that are working there have all these weird requests thrown at them, they're like, what is this?
They looked at me like I was crazy.
Exactly. So, then let me just go through what happened on this celebration of birthdays.
Yeah.
So then
This should have been an overtime.
Yeah, it could be an overtime, but all right, we'll do it quick.
All right.
So we go out to eat, whatever, and then he comes back and he's like, "You have to sit here," and he put like us all in a certain seat.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Wait here, I have things to show you." And he comes back in with these cowboy boots. Okay, he's never worn cowboy boots. This yellow blue dude from New York has never worn cowboy boots.
It does not fit the image.
Right. They're like just certain type of leather that was imported from somewhere. I have no idea.
They're top of the line.
Yeah. He traveled, apparently, 6 hours to buy them and then just came back.
These are Yellowstone grade cowboy boots.
Yeah, right. These are Kevin Costner probably wore them in Yellowstone.
Right.
And he proceeds to show these to us, and we have to sit there, and we're like, And then he's like, "Let me show you what else I got for the celebration of birthdays." Even though it's his birthday.
Which is all his gifts.
Right, which is all his gifts. Okay? And which okay.
I'm laughing.
Yeah. Then
You're getting all upset.
And then on top of that, because it's the celebration of birthdays and not his birthday, even though he showed us all his birthday gifts that he got.
Yes.
My mom isn't on the gig, and she brings out all the things I did. First of all, it's not my birthday, nothing to do with me. From from preschool to 6th grade.
Yeah.
Like all these pictures I drew, all my stuff from those years that they saved in these like terrible little cardboard boxes. And they start bringing it out. Okay. Now, look, we know, and this is why she annoys me. Okay. She's red purple. So they start bringing out all the stuff. And, you people listening probably have a kindergartner or 1st grader. You see their picture and you say, "Oh, that's wonderful, honey. That looks so nice. It's a beautiful picture." They go on a roast.
Yeah.
The two of them go on a roast of all these pictures. Look at the art. What is it? Look at this artist.
Look at the artist. Yeah.
And they show me like these pictures of things I drew in 1st grade, 2nd grade, mocking it.
They were.
She's literally mocking
Regular Picasso here.
And there I am. And this is right. Yeah. They sing all these comments, showing me things I don't want to see. First of all, it's not my birthday. It's a celebration of birthdays. It's nothing to do with my birthday. And I'm not, then I get red and and I start to feign like no interest.
Yeah.
So now they're getting annoyed at me. So I'm triggering them.
But you don't care? You don't care that we saved all this stuff?
Right. You don't care about this?
Wow. You don't care?
Right. And
I don't care.
And I think I left the room.
Throw it out.
But they had to continue till the box was empty. Yes. So I wasn't even there. And they were still going, showing every little piece of, every little thing that I did, whatever. So there you go. That story in itself it just shows everything, the dynamic, everything.
I think everybody has their own agenda.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are obviously I triggered them because I'm red. Right. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
Right.
I have no interest in being mocked today over my drawings from kindergarten. Fine. I wasn't a good drawer then. What could I do? I'm not a good drawer today. So what can I do?
Right. So we got a little insight into what childhood was for Scotty.
Yeah. And that was actually through high school.
It's not funny, but
Yeah.
It is.
Critiquing everything I did. But anyway. Right. And then his yellow is
you're triggered.
Right. So I've triggered them. They started because they triggered me first.
Right.
With their yellow nonsense with the cake and the boots and the order of all these things happening.
The celebration of birthdays.
Yeah. I mean, the Seinfeld, the dad comes up with Festivus.
Yeah.
That's nothing compared to what the celebration of birthdays is.
The celebration of birthdays.
And that what we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to deal with it again this year.
Oh, I'm already hearing about it.
Yeah. We're already talking about it already. We have it till 84. Thank God when he turns 85, it'll go back to his birthday, which it really is his birthday.
It's still his birthday.
Yes, which he's just not calling it his birthday.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I think it's like you said, it's a funny story.
Yeah.
But there's undertones of
can you put some why is everyone angry?
Yeah. Why is everybody so angry at each other?
Give me some analysis on that.
No, I think that that's a relatable thing. And I think what happens is we go to the places where we originated from and we start to see something like a pattern in somebody or somebody's a certain way and it makes us angry about stuff that we can't really put words to. And it's just it's a lot, that's why I really feel on holiday gatherings, everybody should just play Uno or do a puzzle or just watch a movie marathon.
Well, that's probably why People watch football, I guess, right?
Totally. Like, have a distraction, people, and like do that. I think that's important.
All right.
That's my tip. But we're going to talk about all this today.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, you're going to talk about why might members of your family not like you.
Ever since we got our Aura frame, all those photos that we take of the kids and ourselves and our daily life that are usually stuck in my camera roll are now out, and I see them all the time every day.
Yeah, me too. We put it in the kitchen, and there's some photos. The kids have fun with me, obviously. There's some photos I would rather just be on the phone, but I'll be just washing the dishes or whatever, and then all of a sudden I'll see like this photo of me when I had like bleach blonde hair, and it just pops up, and I'm like, it makes me laugh. So it's a really neat thing, the Aura frame. It's really cool.
We all have the app on our phone. It's all you do is you upload your photos onto the app, and then it goes directly to the frame. That's how easy it is, from big events to the silly moments every day. It's nice to have these out in our family life instead of stuck on our phone. It has been named the #1 digital photo frame by Wirecutter. Aura makes it effortless to upload unlimited photos and videos directly from your phone, so your favorite memories are always within view. And you can also personalize and preload an Aura frame for a truly special, unforgettable gift. All they have to do is plug it in. All right, so save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver Matte Frames by using promo code KYA at checkout. That's Aura, AURA, frames.com, promo code KYA. This deal is exclusive to listeners, so get yours now in time for the holidays. Terms and conditions apply. Why doesn't my family like me? Why don't you like your family? Today, I wanted to do this episode to just talk about those quirks, those awkward situations, the relationships that come with family. I've had a string of readings, and this was my inspiration. I've had a string of readings where it's been kind of on repeat, the same pattern. People going into their family situations and not understanding why they're triggering their family. And also at the same time, not understanding why they're being triggered as well by their family. And I thought, this being that time of year where we're all around family a little bit more, it's something that we could look at and maybe take a closer look at, and maybe even switch up our perspective a bit. So before we get into all of this, there is a range of family dynamic, from a very close family to who sometimes it's normal to get on each other's nerves. Totally normal. That's just people. Okay. Where we get over it, or it's a family, right? So things are going to get brushed under the carpet every once in a while. That's just how it works here and there. You get over stuff, you move forward because you love them. So that would be on like the good end. And then on the tougher end of that spectrum it is truly mentally painful for you, emotionally painful, sometimes even physically painful to be around family. What you pick up from them, what you feel their feelings as, your role, the memories, the triggers, that would be the opposite end. So as we go through all these things today, just keep in mind a couple things. 1, how am I looking at this? And then 2, how are they looking at me? And also, not just why does my family hate me? Maybe also like, why do I have problems with certain people in my family too? Because it's important to look at both sides of things. And yeah, so let's get into it. So the first part, I wanted to talk about the overall. What I notice overall is that usually there's friction in family because you've had a spiritual awakening. You have changed. I say this a lot in readings. I'll just see it immediately because your aura colors will look one way to me, in your selfie that you send for the reading. But then when you're in your group photo with your family, it's like, oh, you look totally different energetically in this photo. And it's because you have a role. And we've talked about this a lot on here. There's a role in your family you were programmed to fulfill. Sometimes it's a role you can deal with. Sometimes it's a role you roll your eyes at. You're like, fine, whatever. I'll just do it. That's who I am at home. But sometimes it's something that you've it's very uncomfortable for you to wear anymore. And no matter how you deal with it, usually after a spiritual awakening, meaning you're sitting there and one day you just realize, hey, wait a second, there's a huge 5D perspective, how we can look at everything. You change. So chances are, if you're noticing all these things, you have changed and they have not. And that is something that is very common, and it can be very difficult for others to understand. Because they got used to you being who they needed you to be. So now when you're challenging the role that you played in the family, it's up to everybody else to kind of, change up the dynamic of the relationship with you. And if they feel insecure to do that subconsciously within, it can be very awkward. And what do people normally do when they're not very awakened and they feel awkwardness? It's your fault. You're making me feel funny. All of a sudden, mom has to deal with hearing that you're not happy about something. She's never had to have that relationship with you before, perhaps. Or all of a sudden, dad hears that, something he said isn't acceptable. You can't say that. And he doesn't know how to handle that. He doesn't know how to retrieve back his dominance after you just put a boundary up. Or, your sister-in-law wanted to have something a certain way done, and you said, no, I'm going to come at this time. I'm not going to come at that time. I'm going to come when I want to come. And she can't handle that because that is not something that she's used to hearing. So whatever it is, the relationship, when the relationships change because you are putting up boundaries, or you're just different, or you say things differently, or you're just not entertaining certain conversations anymore, nobody knows how to talk to you. And instead of some people will relearn how to, but for a big chunk of it, you're going to get the ridicule, you're going to get the awkwardness, you're going to get the insecurities projected back on you as, they're going to make fun of you or attack you. And that's really common. Love means you let other people evolve. That goes both ways. When people change, we have to let them. And when we change, we have to expect that they let us. Nobody is supposed to stay the same. We're all allowed to change our viewpoints and how we see things and how we look at the world. What we said 10 years ago might not reflect who we are today. And what we say in 10 years from now might not reflect who we are now. And that's all okay. And when you love somebody, you make room for that. You let them change, you let them evolve. And your service to that and the way that you show love is that I'll make a new relationship with you. All right, let's talk about this. All right. Okay, let's hang out this way instead of the old way, or let's talk about this instead of that. They re-meet you and you re-meet them. And that's what love is. It's letting others evolve. So a lot of times nobody's letting you evolve. And what happens is you go home for Thanksgiving and everyone's like, ew, I don't like her. So that's just something that's probably happening. I mean, obviously other things can also trigger your family. I mean, perhaps, and again, it all trickles back to the two things I just talked about, your spiritual awakening and how your role's changing. But sometimes there's money disparities in the family. Sometimes there's career disparities, relationship disparities. Someone has the love of their life and the other person is single, and they don't want to be, they're not okay with that. So there's jealousy and there's issues. And overall, it's just, you might be getting the brunt of other people's insecurities just manifested into, well, if I attack you, I feel better. And also look at yourself, because if somebody is bothering you and your family and you're like, I don't know why, I just can't stand her, like that. And we all have a person, that's okay. That's just signaling your need for some shadow work. If somebody bothers me, there's probably an unhealed part of me that is hurting right now, that is asking for attention. And is that fun? No, it's not fun, but you digging into that makes you different than the people that don't. You digging in to the little jealousy bits you have, or the annoyances, or the triggers, or you digging into that is actually what sets you apart from the pack. So it's a good thing when you feel those things, because means you're aware enough to pick up on them. And then digging in them is, like I said, super not fun, but does bring a really great reward. And maybe you can use that this holiday season. Use the family for shadow work because it goes both ways. All right, when we come back, I'm going to talk about how different aura colors can trigger family relationship situations. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys. All right, so we just got this Helix mattress.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It
but
is.
I do have to add that the cat, Dusty, our cat Dusty, has not left the bed since we got this mattress. I actually feed him in bed now. I got to bring the food to him.
We're not even kidding.
Yeah, and he's perfectly fine. His legs work. So, but basically, it is so comfortable. He sits he goes right between us.
Right.
And he does it all night. He just
lays there.
Yeah, he lays there.
If Dusty could give you his personal endorsement instead of us,
10 stars.
I'd let him.
Yeah.
Because but his endorsement is he doesn't leave the mattress.
He doesn't leave the mattress.
He
right.
absolutely loves it.
Loves it.
We have had the Helix mattress for, I want to say, a month now. Okay. There are so many things I could say. I hadn't replaced my old mattress. We hadn't replaced our old mattress for like years. It was an embarrassingly long amount of time. And it's just one of those things that maybe you don't feel like you have to do. You should maybe do other things instead. No, get the mattress because the way it has improved my back, my sleep, my comfort, my overall vibe has lifted ever since getting our Helix mattress. And guess what? You are getting an offer, 20% off plus 2 free pillows for all mattress orders. You just go to helixsleep.com/KYA and start sleeping better today. In episode 182, it is about your aura being a trigger for others. This is going to just kind of be the more centralized take on in a family dynamic. Okay. So as I go through each aura color, yeah, definitely think about your own and how people are probably triggered by you based on just like who you are as a person. Also, if you've changed roles in the family, because again, a lot of times I'll see you in, alone, you're one aura color, but then when you're with your family, you're like wearing a different color or you're wearing your aura hat or your GSD aura's on or something like that. Okay. Think about, oh my gosh, I think I am this color around my family, or they want me to be this color, or they wish I were that aura and I'm not. And when I don't act like that, it really bugs them, So think about it that way. And then finally, just for shadow work purposes, think about the people in your family that really upset you and kind of stick, be like, oh my God, maybe that's because, that's their red aura. And who else in my life is a red aura who really bothers me? Oh my God, my coworker. Hang on, similarities, ding, 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 because chances are the people in your family who bug you probably show up, metaphorically, symbolically, energetically, a gazillion times over in other areas of your life where you get triggered, So think about it. Like if mom's a perpetual victim, so if she's like victim blue all the time, meaning, I don't know, if you say one thing, like this pie is a little burnt or, I don't know, I'm kind of sad today or I'm not having the best time or like anything. And she's like, was I a bad mother? Or whatever. Think about how that might constantly come up in your life and really bugs you. Like when people act victim-y or when people, you got to tiptoe around people's feelings or whatever. Is that a trigger in other spaces in your life? So you might really open your eyes here to lots of relationship stuff. All right, but let's start with the yellows. Okay, why do yellows trigger people? I guess in families and in the holidays. I love you, yellows. Yellows do tend to take over the tradition. Now, if you're a purple like me, cool beans. Okay, you want to do Thanksgiving? I am all there. What should I bring? Oh, I don't make anything that's good enough to be seen on the table? Extra cool. I'll just show up. I'll bring a bottle of wine. Awesome. But some people, I suppose, are triggered by that. So anyways, yellows do tend to take over tradition, and that can bother other people. It can be construed as controlling. Are they being controlling? I mean, it depends. I think they just want everything to be nice. They want to make it nice or whatever. Does it insinuate that you couldn't make it nice? If you really want to deep dive into that, maybe it does. Again, I'm super cool with that. I know my limitations as a person, but other people can get very triggered by that. So also, if you're yellow, you can seem perfect. I know you don't feel perfect, yellows. I know that you're like, me, I'm not perfect. My life's a mess. Da, 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 da. Trust me. You seem fine on the outside, and then you can really trigger people who are hot messes or who have insecurities about their own imperfections, but don't own them. Also, yellow auras, we've talked about this a lot. You do take a moment to react. Like if somebody says something, like I broke up with my boyfriend, like it does take like possibly a full 5 seconds for you to be like, oh, I'm so sorry. You know, like your face takes a while to catch up with the emoting a little bit sometimes. It's just how yellows are. It's a lot going on inside, but they don't process on their face immediately sometimes. And really overly sensitive people can get triggered by that, especially if it's like a family member, and they can start calling yellow auras cold. They're also, okay, the thing with yellow auras, they're always the helpers. They're never the helpies. They're never the recipients of help. So the second they're like, hey, I do need help. I'm not doing Thanksgiving this year. I'm done. Everyone's all mad at you because you're always taking over Thanksgiving, right? They're like, oh, such a control freak, you know. Aunt Judy's such a control freak. But yellow aura Aunt Judy's such a control freak. She always has to do Thanksgiving at her house. You can't even bring anything because it's not good enough. But maybe one year Aunt Judy's like, screw this. All right, I'm done. I'm exhausted. And she tells everyone that. And they're like, wow, selfish Aunt Judy. Holy cow. Look at that. Just dumping us all. You know, like, so my point is yellow auras can really trigger people when all of a sudden they're like, you know what? You can do it. I'm not going to do it. Your turn. You know, passing the baton. They're also kind of like honest, direct, especially when they're giving instructions to people in the family. And they like to do it their way. They prefer their way. They believe in their way. So they don't really want your help all the time. But when they do, they might tell you exactly how to help them. And all these things, no matter how well-intentioned they are, can and will trigger family members who just don't get it. So if that feels like your life, it could just be your yellow aura. It's like not your fault. It's your yellow, but it's good to be aware of it. I'm starting with the logic colors first because next I'm going to reds. So reds, I notice in families, man, they really like to control the narrative of what everyone's talking about. And especially these days, okay, like politics or the tone of how we speak about things, what our viewpoints are, our identity. You know, red auras, and obviously I love a red aura. I'm married to one. They just have kind of a, you know, you can talk about other opinions and things like that, but they're going to reiterate their own really loudly. And this is something that you might, I don't know, like if you're like this and if you're a red aura and that's something that you do, like people might get triggered by it. You're like, why are you controlling the narrative? Why are you controlling the identity? Why are you controlling the way we talk about things around here? Because usually with a red aura, they think they're right. And I'm not saying they're right or wrong. It depends on like whatever, but like they think they're right. So somebody else might come in and be like, actually, I'm going to challenge you. So red auras can trigger people that don't want to hear it your way or don't want to set the tone. Like red auras usually have like an alpha vibe. So if you think of like a dog kind of, you know, if the alpha dog's job, if you're familiar with dogs, is to be like, hey, chill out. Hey, you. Hey, we're talking about this. We're going this way. We're going to be in this room now. We're going to do this now. They like the team energy, the team vibe, the team collective. It can trigger somebody who's super not into being team today. Hi, purples. Okay, it can really trigger some purples. Like, ooh, you got a button. So easy to push it. I'm going to bring up this topic, you know, and that's fun. Okay, so that's fun in a family, that's for sure. When they're balanced, it's fine. When they're imbalanced, then they can get really loud and yell. But reds do love to challenge others. So if you're a red aura in a family, you can definitely trigger people because you don't let somebody just say something. Like you will say something back. Like if they say something and you don't find that to be correct, you'll be like, well, actually, and that can get real old with people that aren't into hearing alternative opinions or viewpoints. They are a little competitive. So if you bring out Monopoly at, you know, the holiday table after dinner, they play to win, man. And they don't care about their 8-year-old nephew's feelings. You cried, toughen up. I'm a red aura and I don't lose Monopoly. They're a little loud. Red auras can be a little loud and it can be intimidating. So people can talk about them behind their back in the families a lot. So if you're red aura, I'm telling you right now, people are like, oh my God, you get so loud. Like, you're so intimidating. Like, you're so scared to say anything. People are so you can kind of trigger the more sensitive aura people who feel like they can't say something because they're going to get yelled at because they don't like confrontation and you don't mind it. And you don't even view this as confrontation. It's just so easy to poke the bear when there's a red aura around. It's just so easy. And I guess I'm taking it from my purple point of view, but it is really, really easy to poke a bear. And if you're a red aura, you might notice a lot of people trying to get to you, a lot of people trying to get you to react. And that can be very, very annoying. Because your strength can trigger people. It can just trigger people. Okay, greens. Greens tend to be stuck in their ways. Whatever their way is. There's so many ways to be a green. We talk about on here, there's gamer greens. Gamer greens are your subculture-y, green who, yeah, I participate in society, but like at the end of the day, it's probably a matrix. So I'm going to play my games and I'm going to do what I want to do. And sometimes they call them like nerd green, but it's cool to be a nerd, guys. All right. Like they get into their fantasy worlds and they're really into it and they're really intelligent about it because they're subculture. Like, why not? Like they can't subscribe fully to society. They see too much and they know too much. And then you have your CEO greens. And CEO greens are like, always dressed to the nines and everything they touch turns to gold and they tend to always make a lot of money and they just kind of always know what to do. And you're always like, why do you always know like what to do? Like, why do you always know what real estate to buy? Like, I don't even know what real estate is. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you just make money? Like, what do you know what insurance is? Like, how do you know what numbers are? Like, why? Like, that's them. And they just do. They can't help it. And then there's like off the grid green. Those are the ones that if they could, they have facial hair, if they're a man, if they're a woman, they do not dye their hair. It's just not happening. Like, they want to live to close as nature as they possibly can. And most of the time, if you do know an off the grid green, they are doing that anyhow. And then there's like practical green, who's like, I don't know, Bernie Sanders always reminds me of a practical green, and like anyone who lives in Vermont. I make myself laugh. But anyways, I hope that makes sense. Anyways, greens are stuck in their ways. Like I said, whatever their way is, they're stuck in it. So, if you ask them to like wear a certain thing to the holiday photo shoot, chances are they're not going to do that unless they're a CEO green. The rest of them aren't. They just like didn't hear you and they don't think that's important. They're also quieter at times. Like, if they don't feel they can contribute to a conversation effectively, they just won't. And they don't have a problem with silence. And people can take that the wrong way. It can trigger people. They do mediate. They'll mediate tough conversation. So in a family, that's something that they'll do, but they also don't get wrapped up in emotion. So they can mediate like two very opposite sides of something and be like, okay. But it's like, they won't take a side. They're just like, well, show me this, or why did you say that, or back that up. And that can trigger people because most people don't back up everything they say with like an article or research, or it's just like, greens will call you out if basically what you just said is a baseless opinion. And that can trigger people because not everyone's as detail oriented as you are as a green. And not everybody, checks their facts as much as a green. And they should. So when a green like calls them out, which they're not even meaning to call them out, they're just like, well, where, that's just, I'll shoot that down in 2 seconds. That can trigger people who just feel, stupid, basically. Like, you made me feel stupid. It's like, no, I didn't. I just said this. So it can trigger people that way. They're very balanced people usually. When they're in a good space, they're balanced people. So they can trigger those who have more ups and downs. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the empath aura colors and how they trigger family members. I do feel like my cats have developed a special meow when they want their Smalls cat food. I wish I was kidding. I'm not. It's like they've learned how to specifically ask for their Smalls. That's how much they love it. And if you have been listening, you know how much my cats mean to me. This podcast is sponsored by Smalls. You know that my kitties cannot live without their Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you'd find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. My kitties prefer Smalls way more than they ever did their previous cat food. I did a taste test when I first got the Smalls in the house, because I kept their old food out just to make sure that they liked both. And the Smalls was gone and the old food was not touched. And you could try this yourself. I tried it with my neighbor's cat and it was the same results. Cats love Smalls. So give your cat the gift of great cat food this holiday season. Head to smalls.com/KYA. Use promo code KYA at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. That's the best offer you'll find, but you have to use my code KYA for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code KYA for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Let's talk about blue auras. So blue auras are often givers without any sort of expectation of gratitude in exchange. So, like, for example, when they do something and somebody says, oh, thank you, this pie is so amazing, or that's so nice you invited everybody, or that's so sweet you made this for everybody to wear, or whatever. They're like, oh, stop. Oh, no, stop. They definitely brush it away. So all of a sudden, when they don't do something, because what happens is with blue auras and families is they're constantly doing things and they've kind of over time been programmed to not expect a gratitude and also have come to just not expect gratitude at all. So when you kind of like awaken as a blue and you're like, you know what? I absolutely hate giving this entire side of my family gifts when they don't give me anything. Like, why am I spending the money? Why am I doing this exchange? It's just to please who knows who, my dad or whatever. And I'm not doing it this year. All of a sudden, even though you never got any thank yous, you sure will get the, well, why didn't you? They will all of a sudden come out of the woodwork and anti-thank you, so it's, what is it? You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? So I feel like that's blue auras in families. If they do it, they're not getting a thing. If they don't do it, they get attacked. Either way, you can be the loser. Either way, you're the loser. So I see a lot of blue auras just like sucking it up. Fine, whatever, I'll just do it. Just have the party for the people that never invite me to anything. Fine, whatever. Even though they've had a birthday party and a New Year's party and they went on vacation and they never invite me to anything, but sure, they're coming for Christmas. Okay, because I just don't want to make waves. Because I'm telling you right now that after you have a spiritual awakening, you're like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. We don't have an actual relationship. I'm not doing it. And they will come out of the woodwork to tell you how selfish and awful you are. And that's hard. So it's but I'm telling you, yes, even though you're going to lose both ways. I would say the second way, you're maybe losing in the 3D, but you're winning in the 5D, right? When you kind of stand up for your own energy and yourself and how you want to be treated, you're winning in a different arena. You're winning in universe energy. But this happens a lot to poor blues. Blues hate conflict. Okay. So this can be a thing. They hate conflict. So they end up being a buffer in families between like louder people. But then they can become the place where they can get turned on instead. The whole don't shoot the messenger thing, or what really is in the family, you're the safe person to yell at. So all of a sudden, when you don't want to do that anymore, and these people that can't deal with their own stuff actually have to deal with each other, you're a trigger for no reason. You become like, wait a second, she didn't step in and fix it. This is all subconscious. So they're going to turn on you. So you can be a trigger if you don't do anything, is my point. Because you're so used to doing things invisibly that all of a sudden when you don't do something and you just kind of step out of it, also invisibly, all of a sudden you're very visible. And that's the trigger for blues. I hope that makes sense. Also, people can get generally annoyed. This goes the other way too. Like people can get in your family, like you can be a trigger because like, why are you such a pleaser? Like maybe your older daughter is looking at her mom and she's like, stop acquiescing to dad all the time, or stop letting grandma talk to you that way, or like, can you please stop being such a pleaser? Can you just stop being a buffer mom? So you can trigger people because you're being super blue, because you're giving invisibly, because you're just, oh, it's fine, I don't care, shrugging things off. So that can trigger people too. People can get annoyed at your own self-sacrifice because they want you to speak up. And then people can get annoyed when you don't want to self-sacrifice anymore because now you're putting the onus on them and they can't handle it. All these are all ways blues can be triggers. Very convoluted, right? Especially the holiday season. Indigos, everything I just said for blues. Okay. But indigos will hit the wall earlier. And this is why indigos become a trigger. So everything the blues, but kind of like blues will like live like that a lot longer than indigos will. But indigos can be a trigger for these additional reasons. One, all of a sudden they're just like, yeah, they had their awakening and they start to isolate. They're like, I'm not going to the event. I don't like going there, and I'm not. They turn their phone off and they hide under their covers, and they have the best holiday ever just watching TV alone. I just got excited. My own indigo self just got excited thinking about that. Anyways, it's terrible. They will put distance between them, and they'll just like leave if they feel triggers from people, like, oh my God, I trigger this person. They'll just indigos them instead of like, but not all, sometimes they'll just emotionally indighost. And I talked about that in the recent episode, Why Did I Ghost You? Because they'll just gray rock everybody who they feel are triggered by them, which just means they're just quieter and they refuse to participate in any conversations, and they don't answer or ask questions. They're there physically, but they're really out to lunch emotionally on purpose. And then that's a trigger. That's a trigger because like those people will try to push, and they're not getting anything back. And that can be a real trigger for people. They'll decide, I'm not participating in events that I don't find pleasing with family members. And that sure does trigger the people who think that they have to, or who also don't want to, but feel like they must. That's going to trigger people, and make people kind of not like you in the family who don't get it. And they will never give you a reason for any of this because they're going to indighost it. They're going to indighost it all. And if you confront them, they're going to be like, what? And they'll just like disappear even harder. So anyways, yeah. Indigos. Okay. Turquoises. Here's the thing I noticed with turquoises, why family members tend to, I don't know, have issues with them. They just step outside of the norm in some way or other, thus triggering the insecurities of others. So I don't know, my example would be like mom and daughter, right? Because it's an easy example. Maybe you're the turquoise daughter and you come to the family party and you're like in your hippie jeans and your hair's not, exactly, it's like 3 different colors right now. Or you just got your tattoos on, but it's like halfway done, and you're just not, and your mom's like, oh my God, my church friends are going to be here. And your father's, this is co-workers at the firm are going to be here, and you're in those jeans. Where did you get them? Oh my God. And it's kind of like the turquoise way. And I'm not saying all turquoises are like that. That's just my example. They kind of step out of a norm. Like whatever the expectation is, they're going to come in their own way when they're in a good, and this is if you're a turquoise in a really good space, you're going to do that. You're going to feel empowered to do that. Maybe you did that in the past without realizing it. When you're kind of an awakened turquoise, you're like, I'm going to come to the space in the way that I want to come to the space. Yeah. Or, usually with turquoises, it's something that's not within the framework of the family. So your clothes aren't the right things, or your lifestyle, or like whatever it is, you stand out by simply not conforming to the family norm, and thus stressing everyone out who feels they have to be within the family norm in order to be loved and accepted and survive in society. And you're just challenging that. Mirror like as the turquoise does, without meaning to make people feel bad. It's supposed to be a mirror and make you do the shadow work. I would say out of all the colors, purples, which I'll get to, and turquoises, purples are more on purpose with their triggers, but turquoises are pretty loud with their triggers on purpose. It's like, yep, I don't know. didn't even occur to me that you would want me to dress a certain way or talk a certain way. And the other thing with turquoise is they will not let stuff go. Okay. An awakened turquoise, you say something that does not align with what their mindset is right now, what their beliefs are right now. You say something, that doesn't align with their lifestyle or they find very upsetting. They will call you out. They will say something very direct, honest, and loud. And they just will not be dismissed. So the only way to deal with that is like, okay, I hear you. Thank you. Thank you for telling me that. And I hear you. Because a lot of times turquoises in families are programmed to stay silent, be invisible, get interrupted, shut up. So when they decide not to be that way, they can be a huge trigger for family members. Like, who are you to talk like that? Purples. Oh, purples. Purples are, listen, purples, they're a little dramatic. They do enjoy, purples might not mind the crazy family a little bit dynamic. You're like, oh, I'm coming in. Usually a purple might want to bring a friend. Hey, you want to see something crazy? Come to New Year's Eve with me. Like that. You meet my family. You can see, I want to hear your take. A lot of attention. They do have the spotlight often in the family, sometimes for good reasons. It's a healthy family dynamic and they're just like the witty, funny one. Everybody talks to them or they're just like, they go with the flow. But sometimes it's because they are the scapegoat and they're seen as the disruptor, the one who is the reason why this get together didn't go as well as it could have. If it wasn't for her, everything would have been perfect. So you can kind of trigger your family by kind of coming in as your authentic self, kind of coming in as, the energy, the vibe you are. Purples are felt. We all have that purple aunt. Okay. That purple aunt is amazing. We talk to her. She's the best. All right. She's a little tipsy in the corner and she has the dirt. We love purple aunt, and I feel like when you're purple, in a family that can be like applauded, like, yay, or it can be like, ew, oh my God, let's talk about her. Let's blame her for things. Let's not invite her next year. Did you see what she did? That kind of thing. She can be scapegoated. The purples do tend to remind people who they are. They're very honest. They will call out BS. They love to have their mic drop moments. When someone's pretending to be something, they're like, actually, remember this time 2 years ago when you said, slow your roll, man. Like, don't pretend you're somebody you're not, or this family is something it's not. That's just what they bring the truth. Depends again on the family how that is received, but it sure can be a trigger. And if you're late and stuff, the yellow, you can really upset a yellow. And if you didn't bring the right thing, that's like me. I'm a purple. And like when I was talking about yellows before, like, what can I bring? And if they say something crazy, I'm like, are you sure? Because that is not, I'll do it, but it's going to look, my style. And then usually they'll be like, never mind. And I'll be like, I'll bring wine. I'll prepare you for what it's going to look like. You got to prepare the yellows for what you can and can't do. Finally, pinks. Poor pinks in families, they can really get picked on and be the trigger because they do have a tendency to care about how they look in a way which can be perceived as narcissistic or self-serving or selfish or, a little self-centered. How about that? Superficial. If a pink, okay, if you see one, they come and they are dressed up and they look cute. And that's just how they are. And in a family, it's kind of like, usually it's not going to be a trigger for everybody if the pink aura allows themselves to be the brunt of the jokes. But the day they stand up and they're like, I'm no longer your fodder for family ridicule. Like, I am not the punchline this year. Okay. Like, so don't. All of a sudden they are ridiculed and they are scapegoated as well. And they are shunned and they are shamed and they are talked about as if they are ditzy and stupid and absolutely worthless and brainless. And so because it's like you're this, you know, in love with yourself and you're sticking up for yourself. I can't handle that. Like, you come in looking cute, you take care of your hair, your nails look a certain way, like you're wearing sparkles, and you're telling me I'm not allowed to make fun of you for my own feelings of self-worth. Wow. Well, now I'm just going to call you a dumb person, you know, an airhead. And that's how pinks can be a trigger for families. When we come back, we're going to talk about maybe you don't like your family. This holiday season, I mean, you deserve a little indulgence too. And perhaps for you, as it means for me, that can be done with some extra hydration. Undaria LJ Body Butter is my key part of my personal body care routine all winter. You know, winter can be so hard on my skin. It can look dry and it can feel just tight. Well, with the Undaria LJ Body Butter, it immediately smooths my skin. It makes it look bouncier and hydrated. The scent is divine. It is not greasy whatsoever. It's luxurious, thick, super rich, absorbs instantly, feels fantastic. It's not your typical body butter. And Undaria LJ Body Butter is made with ingredients normally reserved for your face, like Undaria seaweed and ceramides. It transforms that dry, crepey skin to smooth, soft, supple skin. So treat yourself to clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now we have a special discount just for our listeners. Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code KYA at OseaMalibu.com. Hey, Scotty.
Hey, guys.
All right, so what if you don't like your family?
Yeah, well, let me go. Okay, earlier you said something about the Scotty Craddock method.
Yeah.
Something like that. All right, so basically I have some rules in my head that I live by. And one of my golden rules, and I've said this on the podcast many times, is that it's okay if certain people don't like you.
Right.
Okay. Because if certain people don't like you, that means you're probably doing something correct, right? Let's say you have like a sister-in-law who's a really nasty person, does really bad things, you know.
Yeah.
And if they actually liked you, then that means you're probably doing something wrong too.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I know I've explained this before.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of us as empath auras have a hard time knowing reality.
Right.
You know, so
Well,
it's kind of like, I don't
like you're
know
trying
if
to
I'm
please
wrong,
that person,
or
maybe.
I don't know if I'm wrong. Am I the one that's always wrong? Like maybe they're right. You know.
Yeah.
So I think that's the struggle. You know that in myself.
Yeah.
Like that's why I'm always asking you. Like, is who's right here? You know.
Right. Yeah, I know with the, like, especially with the double empath colors.
Yeah.
And I know they want everyone to like them, and they want to,
Yes.
they want to be loved by everyone, and they don't want to make any waves. But again, like, by doing that, you know, it's possible that you are doing something wrong.
Oh.
Because you're being nice, or you're forgiving someone who's not a good person.
Right.
And that person then likes you.
Oh.
You're doing something wrong.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
And you can live with that. Like, you can live if somebody doesn't like you. Like,
Yes.
you don't have to make that better.
Yes. There are certain people, if they liked me, I'd be very upset.
Okay.
Actually. It's like, it goes the other way. Like, you like me, then I'm doing something wrong. That means I didn't call you out. Or,
right.
You know, I'm being, yeah. If you like me, there's certain people, if you like me, I'm upset.
So you personally would rather be true to yourself than a people pleaser, or like no conflict or
Correct.
whatever.
And look,
family.
it worked. And again, it works both ways. There could be some people out there that, you know, they don't like me. You know, sometimes I just say it how it is, and I tell people, right? Kind of don't sugarcoat things sometimes.
Right.
They're like, I don't like that guy.
Can rub people the wrong way.
He's too opinionated.
Yes.
He's got ideas that he won't let go.
Or the red.
Yeah, the red. He's too red. You know, if they knew what that meant. And they don't like me. And they'd probably be like, well, if he liked me, I'm doing something wrong. So
all right.
It can work both ways.
Well,
but
I'll sleep better tonight. Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. So what did we asked the MMSF something?
Yeah. So you posted on the page, question for you. Okay. I see what's going on here. You're like one of those Kelseys.
Yeah.
That steal stuff. The Kelseys, they steal it. Yeah.
But I read it in your voice.
That's true.
Question
well, that's right.
for you.
Now, here's the difference between Mystic Michaela and the Kelseys. Mystic Michaela admits that she took that line.
I took that from you.
And that's okay. Where the Kelseys will not admit they took Jumanji from it. But anyway,
okay.
That's another story. All right. So we asked them, do you feel like your family members don't like you?
Right.
And we went on from there.
Explain it in Aura Color. And such great input.
Yes.
If you feel a little awkward about your own family situation, I am sure you will find a similar situation in these amazing comments from other members of the Mystic Michaela spiritual family. So we picked a few to read on here.
You want to go first?
Sure. All right. So Angie T writes, I'm blue purple and I've always been the black sheep. That is a purple thing, to be the black sheep. I'm too emotional, opinionated, open-minded, and speak up too much for my family's liking. My mom tried really hard when I was a kid to mold me into the person she wanted me to be, and it didn't go well for her. Now that I'm an adult, I'm so proud of the no-nonsense person I've become. I don't ever want to be a people pleaser and sacrifice my own happiness to make others more comfortable. I noticed this with purple blues. Purple blues, when they get to a point, they tried it. They tried the people-pleasing thing. They tried. But sometimes when they get to, then they're just like, no. And they're adverse to it. They're like the other way. Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
All right. And I did notice when reading these that a lot of people are not liked by their family.
I think.
But it could go vice versa, right?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Because there are a lot of people.
Like if the whole family gets together, are they pointing at you? Like if there's some sort of, family get together and like maybe everyone's like, okay, who's the person we all collectively don't like? Would it be you? Like if it was like secret ballot?
Ooh.
Yeah. I'm asking just in general, everybody.
See, here's the thing for me. It's not me. I could be disliked, but it's not me. I know who the person it is that we all don't like. I'm not going to mention it. But that I know. All right, cool.
Right,
all right, that's actually helpful. That's really
you gotta
helpful.
think about that.
Yeah. All right. Leah K writes, all right, she is indigo and purple. And she writes, yes. I think it's because I'm into crystals and acupuncture and no one understands that. Oh, that I'm some nerdy weirdo. Oh. I mean, aren't we all?
Yeah.
Also, my need for alone time and downtime. They make it like I have something wrong with me.
I understand that.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the middle of the Christmas party, you're just like gone. That's me. That's me. I'm just in the closet, just with my phone for a little bit.
I feel bad for Leah here. I mean, she's doing nothing wrong.
Nothing. That's it?
That's it.
Oh, okay. That's all she wrote.
That was it.
Oh, it's okay. You need breaks.
Yeah.
All right. I got Lindsay S. She wrote me too.
Okay.
Yellow, blue here. They can't handle my ambition. Call me bossy and controlling. I'm a lot of things, but I'm actually pretty balanced with control. And they're pretty lazy people. I moved to New York City to be more of around my kind of people and have never been called bossy or controlling.
Okay.
Truth. Sometimes geography can help you out. That is true. It does depend where you live. I noticed that when you lived in Buffalo versus when you moved down here.
Yeah.
People they appreciated you, I think, more down here.
Yeah, because the difference is in Buffalo, it's like they have like and I don't want to knock
it's
Buffalo
like a Midwestern
here, but it's like more
mentality.
Right, it's more Midwestern. It's buttoned up. They kind of want to give you that image, that you see, and then you don't know what's kind of going behind closed doors type of thing. Victorian age, deal. And then down here is the exact opposite. Where just anything flies.
Anything goes,
You can say anything, and it's not going to be
no one
like
believes you anyways. Yeah. They're like, okay,
nobody
sure.
cares.
Right.
You can be anything down here.
You can be anything.
Nobody
here,
gives a what.
Nobody cares.
So it's like the total opposite.
Yeah.
And so down here, I'm actually kind of like more in the middle of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Where Buffalo was like way out there on the spectrum.
People thought you were like rude and stuff.
They thought I was rude, or I would just
Yeah.
Like
So geography helps. So when
Yes.
Lindsay says like yellow, she had to go to New York, I totally get that. New York City to be appreciated or not seen as bossy. Because maybe she's just a woman with a vision, you know?
In New York City, unless you're like punching people in the head, you're totally fine.
You're fine.
All right. Erin G. She is green coys.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. As a child, I was confident and independent, and I think that rubs some people the wrong way. I can see that.
Yeah.
I feel less that way now, but I think the dislike of me continues. I sense enjoyment from some when I'm having a hard time and an annoyance when good things happen to me.
Oh.
She has stories. That's what she said. She has stories.
That's hard.
Yeah. I think the turquoises, right? The green turquoises, the purple turquoise. We have a purple turquoise.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I mean, like the first person, she can be a little nerdy or whatever you want to call that word, nerdy.
Yeah.
I like to be nerdy with her.
Sure.
So, but other people could be, take it different. I don't know.
Well, plus she said she was always independent.
And independent.
So like, let's say you have a parental finger. Oh my God. What is wrong with me? A parental figure who needs to be needed.
Yeah.
And she just didn't need that type of, like, she doesn't need she doesn't need that help.
Yeah.
She'd rather, so instead of somebody being like, oh my gosh, that's so great. I see this is what she needs. She needs to be independent. She isn't, I can move my love around in a different way for her.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
And here, I'm going to add on to this one because the last thing what she writes, and I don't know if this is, she writes, when she's doing well, people don't like it, right?
Yeah.
And they like to see her when she's doing poorly.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to make a blanket statement on that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I know you and I like you,
yeah, I
want you to do amazing.
Yes.
Like, I am rooting for you.
Yep.
I want you to
and I like you, not the Kelseys.
Yeah, no, Kelseys, I'm rooting for their downfall. Taylor Swift just has to say a few words and it's all over for them. She just says, I'm breaking up with you, Kelsey. What's his first name? Travis. I'm breaking up with you, Travis. And the Kelseys all fall like dominoes.
Fall.
They all will fall. So that I'm rooting for. But
yeah, that's funny.
I don't know them.
But you're saying when you like somebody, you're supportive.
Yes,
They're cheerleader.
Correct. So if I truly like someone, I want them to do well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, I'm rooting for them. If they tell me they're doing well, I say, awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations. But I can see where, some people.
If you feel like you're triggering people because good things are happening in your life, that's on them.
Right.
That is 100% on them.
And that's the
I had to learn that the really hard way.
That's on them.
Yeah, that's on them. That's an indication of their poor character.
Right.
Or if you feel like, I can't say this is happening because I'm going to make them feel unspecial, or I'm going to get a bad reaction, or I'm immediately going to sense their disdain for me. That's on them. That's not a you problem. But that is common. Okay.
Yes.
I have Janae F. She wrote, this is a very timely post as I am navigating a very challenging situation with my parents. I am turquoise purple, and I have long felt like the black sheep of the family. Well, those are two black sheep colors right there. I've walked a very different path in my life, being the only person in my family to go to college or leave our small rural town. My brother still lives directly beside my parents, and I moved away, continuing my career as a pediatrician. Sometimes I feel like my family sees me as oh my gosh, she used a big doctor word.
Oh boy.
I'm going to say a conglomeration, but that's not the word she used. Of all my trauma responses, not a person. When I see something is wrong, I can't pretend to sweep it under the rug, like energetically. My body will not allow me. I think my family may feel resentful for that. It's confusing because even if I try to control my reaction, I will still trigger responses way out of proportion. My indigo green husband, who is fluent in auras, believes that I am a mirror that forces them to look at their behavior, and that's not always a pleasant or comfortable experience. They also don't align with my spiritual beliefs, which is tough, but I am learning to accept myself for who I am despite that. The MMS self helps big time.
Oh. What did you say her colors were one more time?
She's turquoise purple.
Turquoise purple. Okay.
Yeah. So again, like she just evolved big time.
Yeah.
She's way outside the parameters of what they could maybe understand. But, people can... Like I said, to let someone evolve is love, and you should love the person inside, and whatever that looks like on the outside can change. That's hard. What do you got?
All right. I got one more. I got Paige E.
Okay.
And she writes, I don't think it's a dislike, but I'm the one who calls the BS, remembers the details of the past events, and I push back on their personal narratives. She's keeping the receipts, right? Is that what they say? So sometimes I think they're relieved to see me go home.
Oh, gosh. Everyone's like, when she leaves.
Would guess that's my purple. I don't know if she's purple or yellow or whatnot, but she says, I guess that's my purple. But yeah, so she's the one that is keeping that tally.
That's a lot of work, though.
That is work.
Like if you have to go to like a family get together and you feel like you have to call everyone out. I mean, you can take a break from that too if you don't want to do it. But it's hard.
Yeah, I hate to be that person. That person like where like they leave and then everyone's like, oh. Thank God we can have fun now. Like they left. I would hate if I was ever that. That would bother me if I was that person.
Right.
Like just and then I walked out like, yeah, he's gone.
Or like the person that's like, listen, you have to text so and so, or you have to call so and so. It's their birthday, and the kids are like, like that, like oh my gosh.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person.
Like if I could just never be that person in the family, like I succeeded.
Right.
All right, I got the last one.
Okay.
Kate H writes, I picked her because she's pink Pink yellow. I'm pink yellow, and I've always butted heads with my red dad. It seems like we're both so stubborn. And he never wanted to go along with my way of anything because he had to be the one in charge. He always felt like he had to control me and one-up me, which led to abuse. Now that I came forward with the abuse and confronted him, he wants absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't think he can handle how happy and carefree I can make myself without any input from him. All he's ever wanted to do is take that joy from me. I had to have a Teflon pink bubble my entire life to keep my joy inside. I disassociated, played with dolls until I was 14. I did everything I possibly could to keep myself safe and protected from his my way or the highway attitude and wrath. It's sad.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see for a pink girl having a red dad.
Yeah.
That could be tough.
Yeah.
That would be real tough, right?
Because it would be kind of like how do I put this? He went about it the wrong way, and it was already something wrong with him. He's majorly unbalanced. Yeah. But even for like, let's say a balanced red. Right. You're worried about the world taking advantage of her. Yeah. I would think.
Right. Or it could be, like as a red, some reds are very, this is how it's done.
Some of them are, yeah.
Some of them are. And then a pink could be, some more like in that, more magical.
Yeah, but they're stubborn too.
They could be stubborn too, yeah. But I could see where that would really kind of, like even with, like, I think I went the other, like even with Abby with the turquoise, I could have went on one way with her. Yeah. But I've actually went the other way, where I've actually totally embraced the turquoise. Yes. Me and her are ringers, by the way.
Oh yeah, ringers.
We watch all the Lord of the Rings. We even watch the new ones together. So I've actually
Middle Earth buddies.
Yeah, and I've mentioned the show. We watch Avatar.
Yeah.
So I watch all these like sci-fi shows that, or what do you call those? Like fantasy.
Fantasy, like fantasy. Yeah. There's probably a word for them, but yeah.
I don't know what they're like. The Comic-Con, the ones that you would go to a Comic-Con for.
Yeah.
And so I went that, like, I was never into, like, I would never watch Lord of the Rings on my own. Right. I would have never watched Avatar. I watched all the Harry Potters with her. I would never watch those. So,
Mandalorian.
Yeah. That's like that blasphemy for Star Wars. That's horrific. And, so I kind of went in there and I just went, try to borrow the turquoise a little, whatever, with the turquoise route. So I went that route with her. Yeah. And, now we have all these inside jokes about like Lord of the Rings and like things they say. And so I went that way, but I can see where a red could go another way with a purple, with a turquoise or a pink.
I can see with a pink, like you would have to, I don't know, like if I had a pink kid, I would have to let them take the lead. Right. Which is, I think, what you're saying with Abby. Like you let the turquoise take the lead.
Yeah, I've let her take the lead and her interests.
Right.
And now I'm just along for the ride.
I would have to let the pink take the lead if I had a pink or a kid. Yeah. I would just be like, all right, so what are we doing this Saturday? Right. Or,
but that could be tough. Like for a red, that could be tough. Yeah. Like, maybe they want to do like these really pink type things. I don't know what that
well, I can see like them getting really insecure. Like, I don't know, I can't control you. Yeah. Like you are in your own world and I can't get in if you're pink. Like you're in your own world and I cannot get in. Right. And so pinks are really good at making their own world. And it is kind of like, I think about the oh my God, that Wizard of Oz movie, but it was really bad with James Franco. But like, you can't get into Munchkin Land. It's like a bubble around it and only the right people can get in. That's like the joy bubble. Like only the right people are allowed in. And you know that. And so he probably felt that and probably freaked him out. And he's like, I don't know what to do if I'm not in control. Right. Like that. So
yeah. Or maybe they see the way they do things and they're like, you can't do things like that.
You don't do that. That's not how you think.
Right. That's how the world works.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah. You're in fantasy land. Wow. You're and then you're so stupid. You're this, you're da. Yeah. But the turquoises, I can see like just because we have like what you're saying, like having a turquoise kid, it's sometimes with Abby, I mean, she's only 9, so we'll see what this evolves into. But if she thinks something that's kind of like, she thinks she's right.
Yeah, it's her.
So it's kind of like, it's harder to talk with her about it.
No, she parents me, basically. Like, she told me, like, the other day when I dropped her off at school, like, Dada, when you come into a school, you have to talk very quietly. You cannot be talking about Lord of the Rings at school, Dada. When we go home, that is when we will continue our conversation about Durin and Lord of the Rings.
And when she came home, she told me separately, like, I had to have a conversation with Dada about talking so loud at school. Like you're this inappropriate buffoon.
She told you,
that she's helping.
That's what I feel like. Like the other day we were taking a walk on Green K, the K by us.
It's like a park.
Dada, when someone is walking by, you must, move more to the right. Now, she is totally 100% correct on that.
Yeah.
But me being a red, I try to take up a little more space, because I'm kind of.
You don't like to move over for people.
Yeah, I'm like, you move over for me a little bit.
Yeah.
But she's telling me, Donna, we have to move to the side, Donna, when someone walks by. And I'm like, and then she gets annoyed with me if I don't do it.
Like exactly. You don't do it.
Yeah.
Because she's seeing you having some sort of like weird turf war with people energetically.
Sure.
And she's like, no, don't do that.
Move to the side.
It's funny.
Anyway, but
families.
And just to add also with the pinks, it might not only be reds. You might have another color parent.
I can see green's doing it too.
Yeah. So I don't want to just say it's only reds.
Yeah. You're like justice for reds.
Justice for reds.
Reds get a lot of bad rep, as do the yellows.
Yeah.
Green's a little bit, depending.
Yeah. The yellow purples, by the way, loved last week with Martha Stewart.
Oh, good.
They a lot of comments about the yellow purples.
Yeah.
And then of course they want a full episode. They want a series.
They want their own yellow purple.
They want a podcast, basically the yellow purple podcast.
Yellow. I mean, I want to come back as yellow purple.
Me too. Me too.
That would be ideal.
I'll take it.
All right. Well, this podcast is for you and about you, and we're so glad you spent some time with us today.
Hello, podcast fans. If you're looking for a new podcast, if you enjoy articles, books, pop culture, and hilarity, try listening to the Brain Candy Podcast.
That's right. The Brain Candy Podcast has over 500 episodes of educational hilarity to satiate your learning needs. Just search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app or click the link in the show notes.